I canceled my daughter's birthday because her party decorations were too happy for my mourning, made my husband burn the cake, and ordered him to apologize to my brother's grave. Now he took our daughter, and I'm realizing I let grief turn me into a monster. My brother Aaron died 9 months ago. He was 26, 2 years younger than me. It was a car accident. My husband Carter was the one driving. They were coming back from my parents' place after a small barbecue. I wasn't there that night, but I got the call around midnight. I'll never forget that sound in my mother's voice when she said, "He's gone." The police cleared Carter of DUI. They said he was below the limit and that the crash was caused by rain and a slippery road. I know what the report says, but it doesn't change the fact that my husband was behind the wheel. The idea of not guilty doesn't bring my brother back. It doesn't erase the image of his empty chair at every family dinner since then. Aaron wasn't just my brother, he was my best friend. He'd always been the one who checked on me when I got too quiet, the one who fixed things in the house before Carter even noticed they were broken. We grew up in a small town where you don't really have many people besides your family, and he was the one constant I always had. After the funeral, everything started changing. My parents dealt with their grief quietly. They still talked about him, but in small doses, like they didn't want to disturb the air around them. I wasn't like that. I needed him everywhere. I couldn't stand the idea that his face would fade out of our home, so I made sure it wouldn't. I turned our living room into a space that felt like him-framed pictures, candles, his favorite hoodie still draped over one of the dining chairs. There's even a shelf where I keep small things that remind me of him, like his lighter and that old coffee mug he left at our house the last time he came over. Carter called it a shrine once, like it was something ridiculous, but I don't see what's wrong with keeping your brother's memory alive. The problem started last week. Our daughter Tiara turned 7. Carter had been quietly planning a small party for her. Nothing crazy, just a few friends from school, some of our family, balloons, cake, that kind of thing. He didn't tell me about it because he didn't want to stress me out. But I found out the morning of. I walked into the kitchen and saw pink streamers hanging across the wall, a happy birthday banner, paper plates with unicorns on them. It felt like I'd stepped into another person's house, a place pretending that everything was fine. I know how that sounds. But when I saw all that color and glitter and laughter waiting to happen, it just felt wrong. It's been 9 months. My brother is still in the ground. How can there be a party? How can anyone eat cake when the person who should be there to tease Tiara about her candles isn't here anymore? I asked Carter why he thought this was okay. He said Tiara deserves to be happy, that she misses the old me. I snapped. I told him he's the reason the old me is gone, that he took away the one person who made me feel like myself. He told me I was being unfair and that Aaron wouldn't want me to live like this. I don't think Carter gets to say what Aaron would want. I told him to take down the decorations. He refused. He said, "It's her birthday, not a funeral." That's when I called everyone and told them the party was canceled. Tiara started crying when she realized what was happening. Carter tried to calm her down, but I told him this day wasn't supposed to be about cake and balloons. It was supposed to be about family, about honoring Aaron. I told Carter if he really cared about making things right, he'd show it. He asked what that meant, and I said maybe it was time to finally go to the cemetery and apologize properly. He said he already did that in his own way, but I told him that wasn't enough. Before we left, I told him to get rid of the cake. I didn't mean throw it in the trash like it was nothing. I told him to make it mean something, burn it, like a symbol, to let go of what doesn't matter anymore. I stood outside with him while he did it. He hesitated, but eventually he lit it. Watching that cake melt in the fire pit actually felt right, like it balanced something inside me. But Tiara saw from the window. I didn't realize until later she was crying again. After that, I made them get in the car. We drove to the cemetery. I brought flowers. I told Carter to kneel and tell my brother what he'd done. He did it without arguing. I think he was just done fighting with me. When we got back home, Tiara went straight to her room and locked the door. Carter slept on the couch that night. Now Carter says I went too far. He's been distant all week, barely talking to me. I caught him packing some of Tiara's clothes yesterday. When I asked what he was doing, he said, "Taking her somewhere normal." He told me he's not coming back until I get help. I don't understand what kind of help he thinks I need. I'm not the one pretending life is back to normal. I'm not the one smiling like nothing happened. I keep getting messages from my parents and Carter's family telling me I've lost it, that I'm destroying my marriage and traumatizing my child, but I don't see how honoring my brother's memory makes me a bad mother or wife. Everyone keeps talking about moving on, but what does that even mean? To forget? To start laughing again like the person we loved never existed? I can't do that. Update 1. Hi again. I didn't expect to post an update, but since my first post kind of blew up in a bad way, I thought I should explain what's been happening. I've read some of the comments, not all. Most people told me I was cruel, that I need therapy, or that I was projecting my grief onto my daughter. I still don't fully agree with everything said, but I can admit that maybe things didn't go how I thought they would. Carter left with Tiara. They've been staying with his sister ever since. He only messages me when it's about money or bills. Nothing personal, nothing about us. He hasn't asked how I'm doing, and he hasn't sent any photos of Tiara either. It's been 3 weeks now. The house feels like something died here all over again. Like the air itself is heavy. The balloons are still half deflated, stuck in corners, and the fire pit still has the blackened mess from that cake. I keep telling myself I'll clean it, but every time I try, I end up sitting down instead. My parents came by a few days ago. I thought they'd understand, but they didn't. They said Carter is filing for a temporary separation. I don't see what that solves. They told me he's doing what's best for Tiara, but it feels like they're all choosing the easy way out. They kept using words like space and healing. To me, it just sounds like they're all trying to forget Aaron. I called them cowards for it, and they left not long after. Since then, I've been recording messages for Aaron on my phone. It sounds strange, but it helps. I just talk to him about my day, about how Carter's acting, about Tiara. Sometimes I even tell him about the garden or what I cooked, and for a few minutes, I feel calm. I said in one recording that sometimes it feels like he answers. I don't mean that literally, just that when I play them back, I already know what he'd say. He was always the one who listened best. I sent Carter a few texts asking when he plans to take Tiara to visit Aaron's grave. I told him it's something we should keep doing as a family, that it's important for her to understand where love comes from. He didn't reply. I sent another one saying I'd pick them up if they don't want to drive, but again, nothing. I know he reads them because the little scene thing pops up. It's cruel to ignore someone like that. I'll admit something I probably shouldn't. I drove by his sister's neighborhood last week. I wasn't trying to cause trouble, I just wanted to see my daughter. I parked down the street and waited. I saw her through the window for a few seconds before the curtains closed. That was all I needed. It reminded me that she's still out there, still mine. Carter came outside after that and called me from the driveway. He told me not to come again and said if I did, he'd call the police. I told him I just wanted to see my child, but he said it's not healthy for me right now. I left, but it didn't sit right with me. I don't think a father should have that much control over when a mother sees her child. A few days later, I went through Aaron's old things. I hadn't touched his laptop since the funeral, but I needed to charge my phone, and the charger was there. When I opened it, I saw a folder called April Plans. I clicked it and found a short video. It was of Aaron and Carter in the garage, talking and laughing. Carter was holding a box, and Aaron was saying something about how I'd never guess what they were planning. I realized it was about a surprise they were working on for my birthday before the accident. They were closer than I remembered. I'd spent all these months thinking Carter hated Aaron, or at least that he didn't care about him the same way I did. But watching that video, I couldn't make sense of the man in it. He looked happy, like he actually loved my brother too. That video messed with my head more than I expected. I've spent every day since then wondering if I've been wrong about how much blame he really deserves. But then I remember how easily he moved on, how he could still laugh, still throw parties, still decorate for a child's birthday, and the anger comes back. Maybe that's the problem. The anger doesn't know when to stop anymore. Yesterday, I took flowers to Aaron's grave. I sat there for a while, just talking like I always do. When I came home, the house smelled like smoke. I thought something was burning, but it was the candle I keep under Aaron's photo. It had melted all the way down and burned through the bottom of the frame. The glass cracked, and the corner of the photo is black now. I don't know how long it was like that. It scared me more than I want to admit. It felt like something was warning me, or maybe reminding me how fragile everything still is. I don't know what to do next. Carter won't talk to me. My parents are distant, and the house is just too quiet. I keep reading comments from my last post about therapy, and maybe that's what I need, but I'm scared that if I let go of this, then I'm letting go of Aaron too. Update 2. I wasn't going to write another update, but I've been awake since 3 a.m. and can't stop thinking. It's been 2 months since Carter left with Tiara, and things have gotten strange here. Not just quiet strange. After my last post, I promised myself I'd start fixing things. I made a list: clean the house, cook again, sleep properly, stop calling Carter. For about a week, I did try. I even opened the curtains for the first time in weeks. But then I found one of Tiara's birthday balloons, deflated and stuck behind the couch. I sat on the floor with it for an hour, pressing the plastic in my hands. It still smelled faintly like frosting. I don't know why that broke me, but it did. After that, I stopped trying to move on. The house doesn't feel like a home anymore. It's more like a waiting room for something that's already over. I've cleaned everything too much, vacuumed until the carpet edges frayed, scrubbed walls that weren't dirty. I think it's because cleaning makes me feel like I'm doing something useful. I tell myself I'm making the house ready, though I don't know what for. Sometimes I talk to Aaron's picture like he's still here. I'll be making coffee and just say things like, "You'd hate how quiet it is." It's not crazy talk, it's habit. When you grow up with someone and they vanish, your brain doesn't update as fast as the world does. A few nights ago, I swear I heard someone whisper his name. It came from Tiara's old room. I froze in the hallway, listening. There was nothing after that, just the sound of the fridge humming. I checked the room anyway. Everything was untouched. Her bed still has the pink sheets she picked with Carter. I haven't changed anything in there. I tell myself it's so she feels safe when she comes home. But part of me knows it's because I can't face packing away another person. Carter showed up last week. No warning. I saw his car in the driveway and almost didn't answer the door. He didn't even knock, just slipped an envelope under it and left. He stood there for maybe 10 seconds, then got back in his car and drove off. I watched from the window until he turned the corner. I didn't open the envelope right away. I just stared at it like it might disappear. Inside were divorce papers and something else, a photo. Tiara at what looks like a school fair. She's holding a cupcake, grinning, frosting on her nose. Behind her, there's a table with bright decorations. It's small, nothing like the big birthdays I used to plan, but she looks genuinely happy. I don't remember the last time I saw that expression. Seeing that photo did something to me. I thought I'd feel angry, like Carter was trying to show off that she's fine without me, but I didn't. I just felt hollow, like I wasn't even supposed to be part of that memory. The papers say temporary restraining order. I didn't understand why until I called my mother, and she told me Carter filed it after a neighbor called him. Apparently she saw me sitting in my car outside his sister's house again. She thought something was wrong because I'd been there all night. I don't remember staying that long, but I guess I did. I just wanted to see Tiara before she went to school, that's all. Then the police came 2 days later for a welfare check. They said someone reported concerning behavior. One of the officers looked around the living room and saw the candles, the photos, the things I've kept of Aaron's. I could tell what he was thinking from his face. He asked if I had anyone who could stay with me. I said no. He told me to get some rest. After they left, I sat down and stared at the wall until the sun came up. I cleaned the entire house the next day, packed up some of Aaron's things, moved others around. I told myself I was doing it because I'm getting better, but that's not true. It's because I'm scared someone else will come again, and I don't want them to see the shrine. I don't want anyone to touch it or tell me it's not normal. Update 3. Hi again. After the police welfare check and the restraining order notice, I had what the hospital later called a stress-related episode. That's their wording. My parents and Carter call it a breakdown. Either way, I ended up spending 3 days in the psych ward after the fire incident. It wasn't a big fire, I put it out myself, but apparently when you pour whiskey on a candle to let the soul go free, it doesn't come across as harmless. That night, I remember thinking I was doing something spiritual. I thought if I could burn the things that tied Aaron here, maybe I'd stop seeing signs of him. The smell of his hoodie, the songs that came on the radio at the same time every night, the flicker of his photo frame light. I thought maybe I was supposed to help him move on. The fire department said it was a miracle the living room didn't go up completely. The curtain and part of the wall were black. I still see it when I close my eyes. When I got out, Carter already had full custody of Tiara. He filed for it while I was still in the hospital. The judge didn't even hesitate. They said I needed stability before any visitation could happen. I've been in therapy twice a week since. Court ordered at first, but now I go because I don't know what else to do. I've moved into a small rental apartment across town. It's nothing like the house, which feels strange to admit, but it's quieter. No shrine, no ashes, no reminders. The first few sessions of therapy were rough. I mostly just sat there angry that everyone decided I was crazy for missing my brother. But my therapist, she's calm, in a way that makes you want to argue with her, said something that's been sitting in my head since. She said, "Sometimes grief gives us a story to survive, and sometimes we forget it's only a story." At first, I didn't understand, but later she showed me a file Carter had given her permission to share. It had police notes from the accident night. I never asked to see them before because I already knew what happened, but apparently, Carter and Aaron weren't driving around for fun that night. They were coming back from looking at a property out of town, a job Carter had been offered. Aaron went with him to help plan the move. That was the surprise they mentioned in the video I found. Carter wanted to move us somewhere quieter, start fresh after a rough year financially. The whole reason Aaron was even in the car that night was because he was trying to help us. I don't know how to explain the feeling of realizing you've built your entire identity around hating someone for something that wasn't even what you thought it was. It's like the ground under you just falls away. For months, I had convinced myself Carter was reckless, that he killed my brother because he couldn't say no to one more drink. The police cleared him, but I told myself they were lazy. I said it out loud. I said it to our daughter. I told her that her father killed Uncle Aaron. She was 6. I think that's the first time I really accepted that I might actually be the problem. Not a grieving sister, not a woman holding on to her brother's memory. A few weeks ago, I tried to see Tiara. I know it was against the court order, but I just wanted to talk. I drove to Carter's place, parked across the street, and waited until they came home. Tiara saw me first through the car window. She froze, then called for Carter. He came out and told me I shouldn't be there. I asked to just say hello. He said no. I didn't argue. I just stood there crying while Tiara hid behind him. It wasn't loud or dramatic. I think that's what scared him most. I wasn't angry anymore. I didn't have any energy for it. I just wanted to tell them I was sorry, but my mouth wouldn't open. Since then, I've been trying to stay busy. I'm still seeing my therapist. I started volunteering at a church thrift shop just to have something to do with my hands. I know I sound calm right now, but sometimes it hits me again in small ways, like when I see a car that looks like Aaron's, or when I hear a man's voice that sounds like his. Final update. I know a lot of people told me to stop posting, and I did for a long time, but I wanted to leave one final update because I've been in therapy for a year now, and I think I finally understand what everyone meant when they said I let grief turn me into someone else. It's been almost a year since everything that happened. Carter got full custody of Tiara. I only have visitation twice a month at a supervised center, and for most of the year, she refused to even come into the same room as me. The first few times I tried to talk, she covered her ears and hid behind the counselor. I don't blame her. I scared her. After the fire incident, I was hospitalized for what they called acute stress and grief-related psychosis. I don't like that word, but it fits. I remember lighting the candles around Aaron's things and telling myself I was helping him move on. That's what I told the police too when they asked why the curtains were burnt. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I just thought if I could release his things, I could release the pain. When they admitted me, I still thought everyone else was the problem. I told every doctor that Carter abandoned me and took Tiara to punish me for loving my brother too much. It wasn't until my therapist showed me photos of what the house looked like after the walls covered in his pictures, burnt wax stains, old food on the counters that I realized how far gone I was. It didn't look like a home, it looked like a tomb. I've been living in a small rental since leaving the hospital. It's quiet and plain. The only photo I keep now is one of Tiara at her last school event. Carter sends updates sometimes. I asked him not to, at first, because every picture made me cry, but my therapist said I needed to learn to see happiness as something that can exist without guilt, so now I save them. I started working part-time at a florist a few months ago. At first, I couldn't handle the smell too many flowers reminded me of the funeral, but over time, it started to feel peaceful. It's something living, something that grows. I water the plants every morning before opening the shop, and it's the only routine that makes sense anymore. I've been sober for 6 months. That's something I never admitted before. I used to drink almost every night after Aaron died. It started as one glass of wine to sleep. Then it became something I needed to get through the day. I didn't think it mattered because I was still functioning, but it made me meaner. It made me louder. When I made Carter burn the cake, I'd already been drinking. I don't even remember Tiara crying until I read my first post again. The hardest part of therapy has been facing that nothing I did was about Aaron. It was about control. Losing him meant losing the only person who never questioned me, and I couldn't accept that kind of emptiness. So I tried to fill it by forcing everyone else to feel what I felt. I thought grief made me righteous, but it just made me cruel. Carter and I don't talk much. He doesn't owe me that. The last time I saw him, it was during a custody review meeting. He said he doesn't hate me anymore, but he doesn't trust me either. I understand. He looked tired, older. I know I aged him. Tiara's counselor says she's doing better. Tiara's birthday is next month. Carter said she wants to bake her own cake this year. I told him to tell her I hope it's the brightest one yet.